What's up, y'all? Welcome back. It's Meg's Monday. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for us to be fucking for real. I swear, every time we come back, we know it's a lot that done went down. Always. I'm gonna start light this week. Okay, y'all know I like to start a little light. And then, and on we save the serious shit for them. But see, this first topic to me is kind of serious, okay? I got a problem with, not only do I have a problem with bad sportsmanship, I have a problem with white men yelling at black women. And on top of that, getting in a black woman's face. So backstory, and it really irked me, right? Okay, you know what? We see the picture, but let's get into the video. I think the video will do this a little more justice. So let's look at what happened. Great angle, by the way. Now, I got a problem with the fact that people even had to come between them, okay? Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Okay, so here's what had happened, right? South Carolina head coach Don Staley and UConn head coach Geno, Auriemma, whatever his name is. I don't know how to pronounce it, so we're just gonna call him Geno. A is for asshole, okay? Basically, he lost. He's a sore loser. And the sideline issue is said to be because he felt that she didn't, he waited too long. No, she waited too long to greet him in, like, I think it was like the pregame handshake or some shit like that. He got his feelings hurt because he felt that he wasn't, I guess, she didn't come hither in time to his liking, right? And so, drop my mouse. So because of that, he basically waited till he lost the game to approach her. And then when he approaches her, she's going out for the handshake. He coming with her on the fuck shit. Now, here's my problem, right? He needs to learn him some manners, number one. Number two, the fact that people had to hold him back and get between them, it's completely unacceptable. That's unacceptable behavior as a coach. That's unacceptable behavior as a man. And the image of a white man approaching a black woman who beat him in the final four, I think it was the final four semifinals. The fact that he felt it was okay to approach her with that level of aggression, not only with that level of aggression, but in a public space, how dare he? It's the caucasity for me. Now, the fact that there's a clip where she says, "I will whoop Geno's ass." And I don't care if that part is viral. I don't care how strong she sounds. Like, to me, she shouldn't even have to say that. She shouldn't even have to go into defense mode against a man, especially a white man, that is feeling that froggish to leap like that in public. Unacceptable. And the fact that it had to be more women coming between them, I don't like the optics. I don't like it because if that was a man that did not come shake his hand like that, I don't think that he would have handled it like that at all. And there's a story where he where is it? Like, okay, so there was a relationship he had with a coach named Pat Summit where supposedly like there was rumor where he approached her aggressively like in public, but there weren't cameras there. The fact that he would approach Dawn like that in public after a game, I don't give a fuck about sports. It's not even about sportsmanship. It's just the fact that that's just beyond inappropriate. Now, he did issue a bullshit ass apology. That's standard PR. They got to do that. The issue is the fact that you would conduct yourself like that to a woman. I don't like aggressive men. And I say this as somebody that I've been in situations of domestic violence. I have been in situations, I've been in professional environments where white men have approached me in that aggressive manner because they didn't like being told what to do. So, am I triggered? Yes. Is my opinion biased? Absolutely. No man should be approaching a woman in that manner in a professional environment. But the fact that it's a white man talking like that to a black woman, it's giving slave master syndrome mad that his property beat him or is talking back. I got a problem with it, and he better not let it happen again. But I think that there needs to be, I feel he should be fined. They love finding folks, right? I don't know if it's different when they're a NCAA coach, but he needs to be held accountable more than just being given the space to say, I'm sorry, with a bullshit ass apology. We need to be fucking for real about that. And this brings me to my favorite part of the show where we go over the things we need to be fucking for real about. Another thing we need to be fucking for real about is that civil rights are on the verge of being illegal. I can't stress that enough. Okay, so there's a video I have on my page, on my YouTube, DEI Dilemma. And I recorded that right when all the DEI initiatives there was an executive order about DEI and how companies were urged to get rid of DEI initiatives. Now, there is currently a lawsuit against the Congressional Black Caucus for their they have a federal lawsuit, and this is brought on by the American Alliance for Equal Rights. This is led by Edward Bloom. This is the same rich white man that got affirmative action made illegal. Okay, this is the same white man that went against the Fearless Fund, which was a grant for Black women that was created by Black women. And what the federal lawsuit alleges is that this Congressional Black Caucus education scholarships discriminates on the base of race by limiting it to only Black students eligible for it. And right now, the suit alleges that it violates the Civil Rights Act of 1866. And they're noting that the foundation has awarded over $11 million exclusively to Black recipients since 1988. Now, the issue is that this one rich man has made it his mission to dismantle all forms of things and organizations that were created to progress Black people, foundational Black Americans. Now, the strategy that he is using is he is first going after higher education. That was how he was able to get rid of affirmative action in colleges and universities. And just that trickles down in other areas. Then the corporate diversity hiring, and now nonprofit scholarships. So the issue is that once it goes federal and a federal court rules, and then it from there will go to the Supreme Court. It's like, state, federal, Supreme Court. That is how the civil rights were won. Once it goes to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court rules, a precedent is set. Once the precedent is set, that's the law of the land. So I hate when I hear about reparations, right? Because reparations is a code word, but we dead ass have civil rights on the verge of being illegal. And in that happening, I don't think that the alarm is loud enough that this shit is serious. Because I remember when the Fearless Fund was in this battle with him, and he got the Fearless Fund to stop their grant that was awarded to Black women. And they intentionally stopped it to avoid going to the Supreme Court, because they knew that if they took this case to the Supreme Court, they were going to lose with the current justices. And once they lose, it's the law of the land. And I think people feel the affirmative action thing is the prime example. When affirmative action was struck down in the Supreme Court, Asians, because it was an Asian group that didn't get in or something. Basically, it was like, y'all letting in too many Black people. Y'all need to let in more Asians and other races, right? Asian enrollment into Harvard and Ivy League schools still went down after the whole affirmative action thing was struck down. And then Edward Bloom actually went back to the Supreme Court and said, you're not letting enough people in. So it's kind of like they want to dismantle it for Blacks, but it's going to have a ripple effect on everybody. And that's what Black people have been saying. Our civil rights help all civil rights. And what kills me is that these programs were started because the access to them were not available to us. Like it wasn't, we weren't given that. And so that's why these scholarships had to be created. That's why these programs had to be created. Like, these things were created because we did not have access to it. And right now, there's one billionaire white guy that has made it his life's mission to dismantle civil rights and make sure that it is illegal and that reverse racism becomes a law, which is crazy because these laws had to be created because of racism. And Poly Alert, they recently did an article about how Edward Bloom lost an election to a Black man 30 years ago. And the last 30 years, he has spent his life focused on making sure Black people, Black Americans cannot get ahead. He has some strong ancestors, I must say that, because the level of racism and in white pride and caucasity that he has to even go this far. But it's also the fact that he's rich enough to be able to do this. And I really, really hope the caucus plays this hand correctly, because if the caucus takes this up and they lose, it's going to be really hard to get these civil rights back. And we need to be fucking for real that civil rights are at stake. And if reverse racism is made law, it's going to be extremely hard to get that shit reversed. Another thing that we need to be fucking for real about is the fact that there are two sides to life after lockup, right? There is the side that reforms, and there is the side that regresses, right? So, okay, if you don't know, I'm pretty sure if you watch this, if you're watching me, then you know, but I know I got some people that may not know. So this is Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane, okay? Pooh Shiesty, along with his dad and 7 other people, kidnapped Gucci Mane to get Pooh Shiesty out of his recording contract under Gucci Mane's label. Now, Pooh Shiesty just got out of jail in October. This dude is on house arrest. And while on house arrest, kidnapped Gucci Mane. And basically they met at a recording studio. They met under the premise of it's a meeting. They were going to discuss some things. And from there, they were supposed to come to an agreement or somehow. Pooh Shiesty wanted out of his contract. I don't know what happened, but next thing you know, him, his dad, and 7 other dudes did not let Gucci Mane leave. They pulled a gun on him and made him sign the document to release Pooh Shiesty. But then to top it off, they stole his Rolex watches, some cash, his bag, and all that other shit. But the dumb thing, see, this is where it's like, people don't think. Like, I feel like, I remember there used to be this show when I was younger called America's Dumbest Criminals. And America's Dumbest Criminals would show people like committing crimes that would get caught on like surveillance cameras and shit, just doing dumb shit, fucking up the whole plot, right? And getting themselves caught up. The fact that Pooh Shiesty would do this while he has on his ankle monitor. The fact that the people he did this with took pictures and videos and then shared it with homies and posted it online. I don't think people think this shit through. Then on top of that, there's already the what's it called? Surveillance the surveillance footage from where the actual crime took place. So it's not like they really did a good job hiding this and covering their asses. But it's like, for one, you don't need snitches when you got selfies, right? So people are wondering like, okay, did Gucci Mane tell? Did he not? It doesn't even matter at this point because they told on themselves. 1. 2, I think that, and this is why I say there's 2 sides to the coin of life after lockup, right? Because Gucci Mane lived that life. Like, he just got out of jail, I want to say maybe like 10, 11 years ago. You know, he's married now. He has a family. He has his business together. He has his things in order to where he understands the value of handling things differently. And when some men or some people get out of jail, they become institutionalized, and they're so caught up in the life that they go back, right? There's sometimes I think they like it, or they're so caught up in that world, in the hood world, in jail world, all that shit, to where it's like that becomes normal to them, or they're so wrapped up in their ego that they don't care. Business. This was a business contract that should have been discussed. And I think I think Gucci is a horrible record label owner. Most of his artists end up dead. That should tell you right there, his management skills. But I remember when he released everybody, the only person he kept was Pooh Shiesty. And that, I think, was when Pooh Shiesty was still in jail. The fact that Pooh Shiesty handled it this way, but then on top of that, his daddy was with him. That's, I think, the clincher, his daddy being with him. Because at some point, where is the parental guidance? You are committing this crime with your son. Both of y'all asses in jail now over a contract dispute. There are so many ways that this could have been handled. And I don't think he's getting out. Because for one, when you commit a crime, when you're on house arrest and you're fresh out, like, it's then it's kidnapping and armed robbery and all this other shit. He ain't never seen the light of day after that. And the thing is that he probably could have got out. Like, if you're like, I feel like, look at like an NBA YoungBoy, right? All his jail stints and all that shit. But NBA YoungBoy is a value to the record label. So when they see the value in your fuck ups, they'll make a way for you. They done look at Kodak Black. They make a way for you if you're a profitable fuck up. Pooh Shiesty clearly wasn't told that or didn't learn that, because, and when you look at his daddy on side of him doing this shit, I think that's why. Blessed be to him and whatever happens next. Another thing that we need to be fucking for real about, and this pissed me off. This pissed me clear off. The only reason people are calling Brandy fast and criticizing her for being with Wanya Morris when she was 16 and he was 22 is because if you don't blame her, then you would have to admit that either you are wrong in your thinking, or you're wrong in your actions, or somebody wronged you when you were young. So, backstory, Brandy's memoir came out and she opened up about her relationship with Wanya Morris. Now, if you remember, when she was 16, that was when her first album was out, and he was on the remix to her song Broken Hearted. Now, in her memoir phases, she said that when they met, he became her mentor. She says that he weaponized her admiration and shaped her friendship into dependence. She lost her virginity to him, and their relationship ended when he confessed to multiple infidelities. She said, a quote, "I was 16, dealing with the infidelity of a grown man who I believe pursued me, took my innocence, and was now revealing he'd not been faithful." And it's important to note, Adina Howard was the same age as Wanya, in her 20s, trying to fight 16-year-old Brandy. And it's like, even if you look at the picture of them at that time, like, she looks young. And Wanya was he was in Boyz II Men. He was that dude, Boyz II Men was the shit at that time. And it's important to remember, like, there's a clip that's resurfaced about, from his interview on the Breakfast Club, where he said we did the thing and she was 16, 17. She was old enough to get it. And like, that's the mentality of men, right? I won't say all men, but a lot of men. And I say this as someone who, when I was younger, I always had older men trying to talk to me. I was way too young. And y'all niggas was nasty for that shit. Okay? A 20-something-year-old with a teenager is weird. Unless they're 18 and the 20-something-year-old is like way under 25. Like, I could 18 and 22 would make more sense than 16 and 22. And 18 and 22 is still pushing a little bit. But I think that that's more acceptable because at least like an 18-year-old is an adult, right? But the age gap is still a lot. However, I think that if two people are at least under 26, and I'm not talking about two people that are teenagers, and I'm saying like 19, 20 to like a 25-year-old, like they're a little older, but both of their brains have not fully developed yet. Because your brain stops developing at 26, right? That's when like your frontal lobe is like done. But I digress. It's not just the age difference, it's the maturity difference, right? Like, and I date older men now, right? But I'm mature enough to game recognize game, okay? But the fast girl narrative is tired. The fast girl narrative and, oh, well, she knew what she was doing. No, he knew what he was doing. Older men pursuing teenagers and young women and taking their virginity, that's a thing. Older men, some fetishize being a young girl's first. They fetishize the innocence. There's a reason these Epstein files are existing. And no, I'm not talking about like Wanye should be in the Epstein files, but I do think that older men should be held more accountable for pursuing younger women than saying, oh, she knew what she was doing. No, she didn't. She got gamed up. And that's what y'all don't like admitting. The fairy tale, the mind games, the manipulation, it's predatorial. There are different forms of predatory behavior. And the discourse that Brandy was fast and she did too much, she this, and she knew what she was doing, and she was older than she was pretending to be, or all that shit, it needs to be out the window. And every time, especially whenever I see men online condoning that behavior, all I can think is like, you're telling on yourself or your homie or somebody close to you that that engages in that type of behavior. And it's easier for you to take up for them than to be honest about the fuck shit of that behavior. Another person that probably should have been a little more honest about the fuck shit of the behavior of the people she was protecting is Miss Pam Bondi that just got fired, who was stone cold protecting all them pedophiles in the Epstein file. And now look, her picture is in the trash at the Department of Justice office. Why? Because she got fired. And she got fired. No one knows why, actually. So last week, basically it was, he did it in a limo, and he let her go, and there's no clear reason why. It's suspected that all of the attention and backlash over the Epstein files, she has been subpoenaed to appear before the House Oversight Committee again to discuss the fuck up in the release of those Epstein files. And so it's most likely that she was fired to prevent her testifying again, right? However, Congress is saying that she was subpoenaed as Pam Bondi, not as the Attorney General. So whether she's fired or not, she still has to testify. But I think that he's letting go of all the women first, right? So as we saw, Kristi Noem got fired. Pam Bondi just got fired. I think Tulsi Gabbard's going to be next. And I say that because if you remember from his first term, he fires all of his fall guys, right? In firing of his fall guys, that usually means whoever brings the worst press at the time is who gets fired. That's how it was in the past. I'm surprised a lot of these people made it past the full year, but I think it's because they're more of his yes men. So because they're more willing to be his yes men and praise him and do his bidding, I think that's why a lot of them have been able to last this long. But I think that we're going to continue to see people get fired. The craziest thing about this story is that she begged him to not fire her. And I think it's because her law career is like shot to hell now. Like this is one of those things where when people leave his administration, usually look at Rudy Giuliani, right? He lost a lot, including his license to practice law because of all the crimes he assisted him with. Also, being a social pariah, I think that, she'll be able to make money in the private sector with her cronies and, with the people that she helped cover up for, which she'll still be profitable. But I think that being a social pariah and being a social outcast, that's going to happen eventually. Only time will tell. And I would hope actually she's scorned, because if she's scorned enough, she just might give more info on the Epstein files, which is really what most people care about. I can't understand how she could look at those files, because she was responsible for a lot of the redactions and reviewing the files. I can't understand how she could look at that and still protect those people. That's the crazy thing, is that she can sit there and look Congress in the face and just say they didn't do anything or just do Trump's bidding. So I can't wait to see what happens when she actually testifies again, because she's either going to play the loyalist route or she's going to let it all burn. So I hope she goes for the latter of the two, but only time will tell. Easter had a lot going on. And I'm not talking about only because of Jesus rising. The fucking president, this guy. So I can't understand why our president would tweet a war threat before Happy Easter or Happy Resurrection Day, or at least acknowledge Jesus. It's wild to me. What's even wilder is that I feel that, or you could tell he's really enjoying this war. He tweeted, and I'm going to share it because it's absolutely crazy that a president would tweet this. Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the fucking straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah, President Donald J. Trump. First of all, what the fuck? Like, it's not even about decorum anymore. It's just about what's the discretion, right? Like, I've never seen a war fought on Twitter. Like, usually you do not let your enemy know your next move. I don't understand what part of the war. When did wars start being fought online? When did wars and threats and your next move start being broadcasted on social media? And it's Easter Sunday. That's not Christ-like. That's not Christian. It's the usual conservative Christian hypocrisy. And even when you look at beyond the tweet, right? This war is damaging, and it's beyond gas prices now, right? So of course you think, I thought it's just the Middle East. So I was really only aware of the gas price issue and the hike because of that. But fertilizer prices have gone up 40% because the Strait of Hormuz handles 20% of which is like a third of the global fertilizer trade. Who fucking knew? The Gulf countries, it says Gulf countries that are west of the Strait, they handle a large percentage, 43% of the global urea, nitrogen fertilizer. I didn't even know fertilizer had nitrogen in it, number one. But that particular fertilizer is what American corn farmers depend on. And it's spring planting season for corn. So all of this is creating more of a crisis, not just gas. It's creating a whole fertilizer crisis, which is fucking crazy because I thought, like, that's the thing. You never really know how deep this interworld connection goes, right? And where you get certain resources from until everything gets fucked up. Like the UN World Food Program, they've estimated that oil prices are going to stay up, but also about food insecurity could rise by 45 million people. All because of this dumbass war. And so it's like, it's just crazy seeing it from a global impact because it's like, not only has he ruined like the American economy, right? He's literally fucking it up for the whole world. Not just the city, not just the country, the world. And it's like, that's exactly how selfish and self-absorbed people act. And that's what they do. They fuck it up for everybody else. And it's like, even when he tells other countries to just go to the Strait of Hormuz and just fucking take it, like he took the oil like he did in Venezuela, he's a thief and an international criminal, and he's just being allowed to do it. It's crazy. It's crazy. And it's like, it's not just a foreign war. It's really impacting the farmers. And the tariffs have already impacted the farmers. The way he manipulated global trade has impacted the farmers, whether it's the soy industry, whether it's the beef and cattle industry. Everything he's doing is fucking up the world. The world, the United States, all of that. And it's like, the cost of war is pretty high. And that's why other countries are not joining, because they actually understand the inner dynamics of the impact of this war. That's why they're not trying to pay the price. And so I was watching, because I tell you all the time, I don't watch local news, I watch international news. So countries like France and Saudi Arabia, they're currently negotiating with France to get across, with Iran to get across the strait. They're making those deals. I think Australia has made a deal. Like, all these other countries are directly making deals with Iran because Iran has positioned themselves to be the ones you have to negotiate with. And people are doing it because diplomacy matters. Like I said it before, bullies never prosper. I don't think Trump never really knew the art of the deal and what that consists of. I think he has just been able to get by in life by bullying, bribing, and stealing. And then he gets what he wants, and then he's off to the next and leaves the chaos for the rest of the people to fix. Hence why all his companies have gone bankrupt. And there's more than enough proof to show that he's not in the right state of mind. He should not be commander-in-chief right now. But the scapegoat is going to be Pete Hegseth. Like, I think Hegseth is going to be like the first male fire. And that's why this last week, Hegseth has been firing like a lot of top generals within the army and the military, because they would be his replacement. And the thing is that he can fire as many potential replacements he wants. It isn't going to change the fact that when this is all over, someone is going to have to be blamed. And the current president is not going to allow himself to take that blame. The most annoying thing, though, is that the truth is being hidden. It's being hidden from us in the United States. We know that. And they're not telling us that we're not winning this war. But I don't even think they're telling him we're not winning this war. And you can tell by the things that he says in his press conferences. Like, just last week, he said, we weaken their air missiles and they have no weapons and their army is completely dismantled. Yet, over the weekend, they shot down 3 of our planes. We had to go on rescue missions to find them. And it's going to be interesting to see, like, what that deciding factor is that's going to end this war. Because the problem is, when you have people around you that don't be fucking for real with the facts, and they're just yes men, and they're just appeasing you, that's how you lose. That's why Be Fucking For Real is the winning team, right? Because we are honest over here. The worst thing you could do is have somebody thinking they winning when the whole time they getting their ass beat. And right now, America is getting their ass whooped in this war with Iran. And I don't think the ego of this administration, and I also don't think the fact that they have fired people that actually know what they're doing in war times, I don't think that they're going to surrender. And they really believe, it seems like they really believe Iran is going to surrender somehow. And I done seen they tweets, and I be watching they little press releases and shit. They not backing down. And they have the upper hand right now because other countries are actually negotiating with them. So, that said, y'all know if it's one thing we gonna do at Be Fucking For Real, is we gonna be fucking for real with the facts. I'm gonna always check the other sources for what's really going on, because we know we not getting the truth on our own platforms. So, that said, I am Miss Megan Liana, And this is Be Fucking For Real, the home of unfiltered takes, unapologetic truth. And that's it for tonight's show. Y'all just make sure y'all are back next Monday for a Meg's Monday. So we got some more shit that we gonna be fucking for real about. All right. I'm gonna see y'all next time.